Set 9 is coming out very soon, probably like today, because I'm a bit delayed in releasing this this time. Right, I had to go to dinner. But yeah, quite a lot of decks released. I'm not going to go through the collab decks as usual. It's just Bravern, but I think Bravern's actually very good. But apart from that, there's a bunch of other decks too. So we're kind of just going to go through the normal decks, and I think there's some really good picks available to be chosen. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into each of the decks. I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of what I really chose. And just, this is, again, it's a preliminary deck. This is not the finalized decks. I know people are always asking, you know, why'd you run this instead of that? Or, like, you know, these decks aren't like good enough. Well, of course they're not good enough, because if they were good, then this game would not have any sort of depth into it. Would immediately find out the best deck. So yeah, no, it's a good point to start testing it and then kind of build from there. So yeah, let's kind of just jump into it. First off is Cibil. I mean, I think it probably looks better like this. The way I built this, my theory behind this was that you can kind of, this is like similar to a Varga deck, but you can kind of just push early with a lot of generics that you have. So you have like Shenri Latifa combo. That's kind of like your pile. But the Shenri makes shield. The cards in this, the Cibil itself, they fund the mental pollution state will retire your cards, but you can also get ways to bounce those cards that are about to get retired. So you can kind of make effects, like keep on reusing effects, and then her I think, is it her? But Cibil itself has like an end phase effect where like you retire, if you retire a card, you get to draw cards. Or ideally, if you mental pollute or you brain rot 3 cards, you want to at least bounce 2 of them back into your hand, because then the last one will be covered by the draw. And it makes it easy because when the orders itself, the theme order also bounces a card back into your hand. So you play this, and then you play this support card, which uses energy, then you will be bouncing like 2 cards back, and I think that's good enough. And then ideally you'll be bouncing things that make value, so like Latifa can make a board, but also the Rainbow Cyclers, they make extra shields, which can be pretty good. And then overall you just do kind of like 4 attacks, and then you can kind of like bounce like mid hats, for example. This only requires this only like is procs whenever one of your unit restands. But then you retire and draw, and then it goes back to your hand. So I guess that like it works out pretty well, right? So overall, that's just kind of how I went with it. It's kind of CB heavy, which is why I didn't include too many of Baki. But you know, it's like an emergency CB1 and call it out from the drop zone, so it can make a board if needed. And then I just ran the Excalibur, or the sword, to kind of countercharge and add soul. So overall, pretty simple deck. You can play it very quickly, and then you have, you know, the kind of the soul and the soul blasting. You have your ace unit here, and then yeah, very simple idea, just to bounce important cards back to your hand to kind of reuse them. Next is the Heart Lulu deck. This is the Happy Toys build, and I guess like you just put in most of the Happy Toys and call it a day. All right, the key thing is this order. This is a set order. You want as many of these in your order zone, because then it procs as many of these Heart Lulu skills. So when you have like 2, you get to stand something, you get plus 10k, or you stand out Happy Toys. When you have 3, this unit gets 5k, and then if your opponent's grade 3, you get drive +1, so triple drive. And then if you have 4 more, then you can pick another one of your front row units and stand it, and gets another 10k. So overall, it's like 5 attacks with triple drive. That's the main thing. And then you just want to run a bunch of Happy Toys, because your Energy Blast 3 skill allows you to call Happy Toys equal to the amount of those set orders out there. So yeah, you just it's basically just free field, which is very good. Your front row also gets 5k by the way, as long as you have 3 Happy Toys. And to get the 3 threshold, your ride line basically does that. So whenever you ride, you get you pretty much get to search your deck for Happy Toys. And then this card itself, you can, when it pops out, and then you can like CB1 and then just bind the starter and then just search for Happy Toys. That will make 3. So the key thing is, how do you get the 4th to get like the 5 attacks? And that is, I think, you basically just have to mulligan for it, right? You mulligan for either 1 Happy Toys, one of the order, or even I'm running one of this, so this is like the 5th copy. But if you have any of these, then you can easily access 4 of the order, and then you should be pretty good to go. And then the rest of the happy toys is just the nice engine. Your main, like each of them is pretty simple. Like they have their own specific slots they need to go into. So just put them there, and then it's good, right? Life is good. The only conflicting ones I think are this dude, the super. I mean, this happy toy, I guess, this happy bear. This will conflict with the shark, but I don't think you really call the shark. Okay, the shark makes like an extra attack if it attacks one of your opponent's rear guards. So it's not like too insane. So just call out this guy all the time, and this guy has a guard restrict, which is very obnoxious, and that's that. To put on pressure in the early game, run some Philias, and then for some extra energy usage, we have some Tiz cards. You can probably run more Tiz cards, like kind of change the balance of the energy ratios. To kind of more efficiently use. Oh no, but you run the Ace unit, so yeah, there we go. You can kind of just bounce from there and just see how much energy you'll be using. If you go first, right, by the time you hit grade 3 out of 6 energy, so you can only use one of these. But then if you have, if you win second, you can use both. Also, I think like the deck compresses pretty well. So even if you didn't draw one of your set orders, generally, like because you have at least still a decent amount of like draws, and then you have twin drives and you drive checks, you should be able to at least see one of these, hopefully see an order ride, or otherwise just win the game. Third deck we have is the Nebula Knights, and then like the Nebula Knights basically search more of their copies of themselves. I added in the Coriolanus combo, so it's just this guy. Is it a guy? I'm not sure. I think it might be a girl, actually. But yeah, this is Cori. It's probably called something else. But yeah, Coriolanus basically is you got a 3-2-1 version of. Is it her? Let me double check. I can't tell. Or is it him? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, the Coriolanus kind of just goes from like 1, 2, and then 2 goes to the 3, and the 3 can go back to the 2. The 2 has like resist. So yeah, but the main thing is that it's a Nebula Knight. So I like the deck. Look, it's like kind of like undercover too, but you run the whole Nebula Knight stuff. Your grade 3 makes like 4 attacks. All right, it's 4 attacks, and then you can stack the deck, so it can be pretty obnoxious. But I think the main thing is your order is like insane. So this order is actually really good, and I think in most Keter decks you probably might want to play this just because one of the effects is really good. So you can play this from your drop zone, and then you bind it when you play it, and then you can look at the top 7 and call a card that's like grade less than your Vanguard. So top 7 is actually really good versus like top 5. But yeah, top 7 is really good. And then if your Vanguard is like the Nebula Knight one instead, you can CB1, and then you look at top 3, and then you add 1 to hand, put 1 to the top of the deck, and then discard the rest. And then if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3, you pick 2 of your rear guards and get 5k. So the stacking is pretty good. The multi-choice, but even just the first skill is really insane. So overall, I think I haven't really paid too much attention to this deck. For me, this deck would literally just be like, put in all the nebulized. They're not that bad as well. Most of them are pretty good. They all have decent effects. And then the energy outlet, you have some extra energy outlets like Biscotti, and that's kind of that. Next, we also have is just the Spiral build. This one I took inspiration from Miltai's build, and I think this is really interesting and could be very scary if it pops off. The main key thing about this is that the ride line can search for a card that is 6,000 power or lower. And you call it. So that means you can call like something like the bunny, this is the follow rabbit. The follow rabbit can also just search more rabbits and make a full field. So that's like decent compression already. But then also you have like, because they're all 5k, you can combo with like the blossoming order, and then it just gives everything like all the original 5k cards an extra 10k. So that's like an insane rush in the early game, and you just need to be able to keep on searching for this order. So you run 4x of the order searcher, But then what other cards are available to you that are 5k? You have the bar mushrooms, which can make plant tokens. It also makes soul, which can come in very handy later on. You also have the new generic triple R that is 5k, so that means it works with the order. But then she also makes a plant token, but she requires a soul blast 1. So that's like the trick. But then you can also sack your tokens to draw cards, so you can get that advantage back. So ideally, you like have this, and then you play the order, and then like regardless, like if you hit, you can like bounce her back, which is like a technically like a +1 back. But then if you don't hit, you can also like still sack and get the card back. I think you'd rather bounce though, because she eventually becomes like a 10k like thing on the board, and it's just like big power, right? So I think that's fine. Like this being 5k is pretty good. You run the Ace unit just to like, Ace unit is insane. And then the RPD, right? This one is 5k. So, and when you play this, they can come out, or when you play an order, it can come out. So overall, I think that's fine. If you're just making pieces, you can even call it out normally, to be honest, if you want to. But yeah, I think calling it this way is like not bad. It's just make 5Ks, rush. I didn't go full ham. I ran heals. I also ran multiple copies of this, because I'll feel you like reach at a point. You might not just, if you go all in, I don't think you'll kill your opponent, but you might get to a point where you're nearly at the end. So even just running Persona Rise for the extra couple of boosts, I think is good enough, because you still run your normal contingent of PGs, and then like just normal shields and all that. So I think I didn't go super order heavy as well. So mainly just kind of rush early, have a big rush early, and then see how it goes at the end. I feel like maybe the RPDs you might cut at some point, but even so, even if it misses the power, right, you can pick it to give like plus 10k anyway. So it's still power, right? It's still power. So and it's still bodies on the board, right? It's still bodies on the board. So overall, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. And it should be pretty interesting to test out and see how good it is. Next is the Manurva. So Manurva, again, I went with for me, I just went, let's go super consistency here, and kind of go from there. In terms of what I did, didn't run any of the Persona Ride. I feel like maybe the extra power is like maybe not super required, but overall we run the new restander, which is very good, right? It means that you don't have to go super ham on calling all the witches out, but I still ran the witches, right? The witches, just the more witches, the better. I feel like you have to run Angelica just because it also has it creates extra soul, but also counter charges. Key thing. This is also why I ran the generic triple R for this, is because you have the painkiller combo, so you can kind of draw, get rid of that extra soul, but also because you have that counter charge option as well when you trigger, and you can basically like confirm your triggers a bit better anyway. And then you also run Cocoa, because she has, Cocoa is pretty good. Okay, like look at top 2 and grab a card, but you also put something in your soul, which you just basically put in your important pieces, and then it has some insane power, right? It has some insane power, which is good. So a bunch of these cards already just have built-in ways to put cards into your soul. So your witches, if they go to your hand, life is still fine. And then just run like normal trigger lineup. I ran some soul in fronts. It can be any front that you want. Maybe I just put in the soul in front in case to kind of make it so I'm like a decent amount of soul for like painkiller use or anything like that. So that's just kind of my take on the deck, and I think you can kind of probably make it more greedier if you want to. Next we have is the Ezel. So the Ezel as well. This one is kind of interesting in that like I didn't go for Caterpillar with this. That's crazy. For me, I ran all the full complement on the Ezels. You'll probably like be able to cut this a bit more. Only 2 copies of the order, because you can search this and then keep on getting it back. So I don't think it's that important. I ran Selgions because just Selgion's good. You can play it early again. Push with it, push damage. Pushing damage is always nice. And then like we have the new support. So we have this is a drag. I thought it was a dog. A Pegasus. My bad. It's like a dragon, but this is your energy blast outlet, and it also like makes power, resets your drive to 2, does everything you want. We run the Ace unit. Also, this PR is like pretty important because it gives your front row extra power. So, you know, extra power is always good. Probably attack with it first to just kind of give it the red text. And then extra copies of the line as well. This is also more of an energy outlet, but it's like not required to use. But if you do have extra energy, you can use it to stand things, and then you can make empty board with this extra soul. So that's kind of nice. And always like Din Drain as well. You know, Din Drain, extra counter charge is good. Like Ezel can use a bit of counter blast, so I think like having these Din Drains and all that is very, very important to get a counter charge going. So that's kind of it with Ezel. I haven't really. I mean, I think there's so many Keter decks in this set that I feel like all of them get diluted in terms of hype. But yeah, I think it should be at least decent to try. And then lastly, we have is the Dikaiser. There's not really much to say about Dikaiser. I think the Legion mechanic in D is pretty weak. Unfortunately, right? Unfortunately, that's just how it is. Some things I kind of wanted to try here is that we have the Dikaiser lineup. I think the guard break as well is not very good, but yeah, personally, like I think the Bravern deck might be like better than this. So that's just my thoughts. But this is kind of like my, if you want to just go Dikaiser, this is kind of my take. So we don't have to run a full complement of Dikaiser because he does a Persona Ride. Also, your Shadow Kaiser searches for it anyway. I still do like just 3 copies of each because I hate it when if you run 2. And then one of your, like, so if you run 2 of Dikaiser, I don't think you'll ever run only just 2. But let's say you run 2 of Dayusha, and then one of them goes to damage. So now you only have like 1 available in circulation. That kind of makes it very, very annoying to have to like, you know, specifically do things just to that. So unless I really, really need the space, I kind of still want to stay at 3. So having a 3/3 complement is fine. And then for this, we run 4 Shadow Kaiser just because it searches for everything. It's also a really, really good beater. If you see here, plus power, right? Plus power is very nice. But also we run Die Wing. So this is from DB06. And to be fair, it's not like this is a decent energy outlet as well. But it's also not the end of the world if you run more copies of this because you have this gives you shield anyway. So it's like a 10k shield, which is pretty good, and also a pretty good beater. We have the new Die Wrecking. This will help you search grade 3s, which I think it's cool. Like it'll search grade 3s out of your deck and compress. And then this also has extra shield. So again, like it's relatively beefy. Yeah, we run 4 Die Ladies just because getting your bases is still like really, really important. And then also we have the Die Battles to give your Vanguard 2 crit, and then a 2 Glory Makers just because Glory Maker always comes out, and that's pretty good. Now, one of the things I am trying with this is I'm running 7 fronts, just because your Legion will double dip from front power versus just a crit. So I feel like you could, like in a world, you'll just have a really, really big power line, and you can just kind of rush really quickly, and then you force your opponent to guard really weird Vanguard columns just because they see a front and they're like going, oh my god, I have to consider the fronts breaking my stuff while their Vanguard has like crit. So I think that could be pretty scary. And then you also have the 2 insane blitz orders for Brandgate. So I think that's all the decks so far. It's like 7 decks. So yeah, I feel like in this set, like the Heart Lulu is pretty crazy. This one everyone has been rating pretty high. Not too sure about Cibil. Like right now, I feel like Cibil is like a weaker Varga, but it could be fun to play. And then the rest, I feel like the Stoica, yeah, the Sky Ruler one could be surprisingly good too. I think most of these will just kind of sit around that tier 2, tier 3 meta, unless there's some really, really big changes in the format. But yeah, that's kind of like my picks from the deck. From the set, and kind of like how I'll probably build some of these decks if I was as like a preliminary setting. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and we'll see you all next time. All right, bye.